Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be about enablers and their karma, because I uploaded a video about narcissists and their karma, but as I've said in other videos, enablers are just as toxic as narcissists. So this is going to be about the karma. What happens to people who allow, excuse, ignore child abuse? What happens to them? What is their karma? Because allowing and excusing child abuse is just as bad karmically as abusing a child yourself. It is. Narcissistic families are like cults. The roles that people fall into are exactly like cults, and Dr. Ramani, the doctor I love, who deals with narcissistic abuse, her YouTube channel, she talks about how narcissistic families do operate like cults, and you can click here to check out that video so you know you can get it from a doctor who knows what they're talking about. But yeah, the narcissist and the cult leader and the enablers and all the people who follow the cult leader, very similar patterns of behavior, very similar roles. The reason I wasn't surprised that narcissistic families and cults are very similar is because there was a brief period in my mother's life where she was not being controlled by her narcissistic brother. And what did she do? She joined a cult. That was lovely. Yes, she needed another control freak male to lead her. But that's a whole other video. But yes, I know from firsthand, narcissistic families and cults are very similar in their dynamics. So why are people born into these situations? Why are people born into situations where they're born into cults or they're born into families that act like cults? It's infuriating when you think about why would anybody be born into that. If you read Journey of Souls, and I did base my whole novel on this, it's about past life, and it's also about in-between life regressions. So this hypnotherapist hypnotized all these people and then documented what everybody said and recorded the similar phenomenons about the afterlife that were reported on. So you can get that book. It's very, very interesting. But it talks about how people choose their parents in their next lifetime. And he talks about how we pick people that we need to be our parents in the next lifetime for our own soul's growth. Now, sometimes we're kind of pushed into it because we have bad karma to make up. So people who are born into cults and narcissistic families or any toxic, oppressive family environment, it's because that soul's karma has been born into a very oppressive life cycle because they need to find a way to break out of it. Maybe they were an abusive person themselves in their past lives, and this is their karma to make up. Maybe they chose to ignore child abuse in a past life and had to become victims of abuse themselves to understand the pain that they caused. People generally do not understand the pain of others. They don't. They don't understand it until they experience it themselves. You know, as somebody who's been abused, that when you try to explain your abuse or as an adult how your child abuse affects you as an adult, if you try to explain it to someone who came from a totally healthy family, who had wonderful, loving parents, it's like you're speaking a different language. They don't understand anything you're saying. They can't understand it because it wasn't their experience. They go, oh, I'm sorry that happened to you, that was really bad. And they sympathize, but they cannot empathize. They don't understand. You can't explain it to them. There's no words that you can use to form to explain how bad it was for you. It is like you speak a different language because that was not their experience, and they have no ability to understand or empathize or understand emotionally what the trauma did to you. People don't understand until they go through it themselves. So if you think about that in terms of our soul's journey, a soul can't understand the trauma that they caused until they experience it themselves. In Journey of Souls, he talks about afterlife reviews. So after you pass over, you meet with your spirit guides to review your life choices. And a lot of people will defend their cowardly life choices during the reviews. They'll say things like, I couldn't divorce my abusive husband, I had to stay with him, or I had to kill myself to get away from him, or I had to make the cowardly choice. And they defend their actions. It tends to be the younger souls that defend their actions, and then they don't understand the pain that they caused until they reincarnate and experience a similar trauma. It's the only way to understand what they did in a past life. So that is why he would say our souls are magnetized for karmic experiences. So many enablers grow up in abusive families and grow up and marry people who are just like their abusive parents. Therapists would say that that's a pattern of behavior that's learned from childhood, that we keep repeating the same toxic relationship in our adulthood, But there may also be a karmic factor in repeating toxic relationships too. Just because it is our karma to be raised in or marry into an abusive situation, that does not mean we are meant to stay in the abuse. People are meant to break away from abusive situations and help others get out of similar situations too. That is how your soul grows. As many of you know, your enabler parents and your enabler siblings will never ever leave the narcissist. They will never break free in this lifetime. They were supposed to, but they're not going to. They were born into this situation because they had bad karma to make up. They're supposed to break the chains. They're supposed to stop the cycle of abuse. They're supposed to free themselves, but they don't. So they're probably going to have to do it in their next lifetimes. And they will probably reincarnate into another situation with a narcissistic family until they learn how to break the cycle of abuse. So whatever bad karma they had in their past life, they were supposed to be born into this oppressive situation. They were supposed to get out of this oppressive situation. They were supposed to help others get out of this oppressive situation. And if they cannot do that, then they have failed this life and they have not completed their life contract. And they will have bad karma in their next lives too. Because once again, ignoring, excusing, and allowing child abuse is just as bad as abusing a child yourself. You're going to have extreme karma in your next life if you've been enabling that. So, good luck. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please subscribe, and blessed be.